Hey, it's your Pan African World Diaspora Champion, Trish Adora, and you are watching O Face Wrestling.
Hey guys, it's your girl Red Velvet, and you are watching O Face Wrestling.
Hola todos, soy la fashionista Roche Chanel, and you're watching O Face Wrestling. Smooches!
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in today to O Face Wrestling. This is your host JT, and today I am joined by Killa Kate. So thanks for joining us today, Kate.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm really excited to get to learn about your career and everything like that. So I want to go over and talk about, the most, basic question that you probably get asked the most. So what inspired you to become a professional wrestler?
Honestly, like getting to see it on TV and stuff was really cool, but it wasn't really until I got to see it like in person, kind of like on more like the independent level, that I was like, maybe I could actually do this. Like, it became a little bit more realistic looking, and that like, hey, I've seen people do it who are just like me, kind of. So that's kind of what motivated me to be like, I should try it one day, see what happens.
So when you first kind of started thinking like maybe I could do this, because I know as a kid, you don't there's not like wrestling in high school. I mean, there's wrestling, but not this type of wrestling, obviously. And
Yeah.
it's harder to find the training and stuff like that. So did that kind of go through your head, like, where am I going to go train? Like, how am I going to actually put this all together?
Yeah, actually, absolutely. I got into wrestling when I was like in high school. So I was like, oh, I wonder if they'll train me. And at the time, no schools in the area were willing to train people that were, under 18, which I understand. But I literally remember going to because my school had high school wrestling, and the high school wrestler teacher was also the history teacher, but he didn't want to have a girl on the team, which is kind of weird because I've seen girls on teams and stuff like that even, back then, but I was like, he didn't want to do it. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll have to go somewhere else to try to prepare for wrestling. So that's how I got into BJJ, like MMA training, stuff like that at a young age, because I was looking for something that would prepare me for wrestling and that kind of fight mentality. So that's what I did.
So once when you started getting into it and the training and all that kind of stuff, was it what you were expecting it to be?
Like pro wrestling training?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say yes, in that I feel like I tried to look up a lot of stuff when I was younger. Like I was definitely one of the internet kids who was always who grew up on the internet basically. So I was always trying to find whether it was just information about schools, like any kind of videos and stuff I could find, or anything about training. So I feel like I knew kind of what to expect, but nothing really prepares you mentally for it. It's going to be tough, but until you're in there, you don't realize how much of a mental game it is, really.
Exactly, because everyone they know it's good. It takes a physical toll. You're getting slammed on the mat, this and that, but a lot of people don't think about the mental toll and stuff like that. And I know I never something I never really thought of until I started doing these interviews and getting really heavy on Twitter and stuff like that. I noticed that one of the important things too is social media, because I know a lot of wrestlers use social media to promote themselves and to get their name out there and stuff like that. So tell me a little bit about the challenge with that, because I know social media can be a good thing, but it can also be a really bad thing at the same time.
Yeah, definitely nowadays you kind of have to be a social media, I don't even want to use the word influencer, but in a way you kind of have to, you have to be promoting the shows that you're at. You have to be promoting yourself and stuff like that, and just constantly responding to people, or even I use social media to do a lot of my business dealings and stuff like that in general. So you basically have this little computer connected to your hip all the time, and as you know, everyone probably feels sometimes it feels like you're constantly bombarded by messages, and stuff like that, or just people trying to reach out to you, and you feel like you have to be on all the time. And especially with wrestling, like you said, now just having to promote yourself constantly and stuff like that, it's a lot different than the olden days when it was flyering out and stuff like that. Now you gotta basically do that online promotion. So it can definitely take a toll on you, definitely take a break and stuff like that. I always try to at least post stuff occasionally during the week, but every day is a lot to ask for people.
Exactly, because like from my point of view, me running a podcast, like I feel obligated to be on social media a certain amount of time per day, just
Yeah.
because I feel like I have to promote my brand and stuff like that, and like I'm friends with a wrestler, and I was asking her all these questions to get a wrestler's side, their point of view and stuff like that. Like, what do you look for, like when a podcast reaches out to you? And one of the first things she said is how active they are on social media, like if you have a podcast reach out to you and they post once a month, it's kind of, I guess, would be a turnoff or something like that. But so I understand, like, wrestlers, they need to keep, they need to grow their fan base and, keep their current fans happy and stuff like that. So I understand, like, you feel like you have to be on, to fulfill all these obligations and everything like that.
Yeah, I completely understand. Hey, some of the best podcasts, they only come out like once a month. So
Yeah, I feel like it's quality over quantity. Like some people like are posting like a new episode almost every day and stuff like that. I know those are more so like the bigger podcasts that this is their job, this is their career
yeah,
and stuff like that. But I've always been big on quality over quantity. Like I don't want to overdo anything. And you're right. Like some of the best podcasts, they only post so much, and that's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
So now my next question, and I'm actually like really excited to to learn this about you. So your ring name is Killa Kate. So where did that come from?
It actually came from my trainer, Lou Gotti is the one who gave the name to me, kind of because I have that killer kind of quiet attitude a lot in training, stuff like that. But also, once he learned, because he kind of does rap also, once he learned I had like a rap background, yeah, that's where the Killa with the A part came from. So it's kind of like a old kind of like gangster style rap names, basically back like the 90s and stuff. So that's kind of where it comes from. Killa in the ring and Killa on the mic.
Exactly. I like it. I dig it. I knew it definitely had, that nostalgia kind of like feel to it, like, like you said, the Killa stuff like that. So it definitely gave me some 90 vibes as well. And I really dig it.
Yeah, I definitely I like it because it's kind of, harkens back to kind of like the old school kind of wrestler names in a way where it was kind of some kind of moniker and not just your name.
Exactly. And like I grew up watching wrestling in the 90s. So I dig anything that reminds me of the old days. Like especially like if I see like wrestlers with masks and face paint, like you don't see that as much as you used to back in the 90s and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And it's just like I always get excited when I see stuff like that.
exactly. Everything's a little bit more realistic nowadays, but it's also
Exactly.
entertainment, like
Yeah, I get it because I know like back in the 90s, like a lot of us like we believed, these people were who they were on TV. Like, I thought that Kane and Undertaker were really brothers and this is who they really were in real life. And now that with especially with social media, like I feel like we just kind of know more and it's harder for people to believe, a more like gimmicky kind of character and stuff like that. But I still like I like it, like I'll use Bray Wyatt as an example. I see people complain all the time, oh, that you can't teleport and do all that kind of stuff. But it's like it's just entertainment. Like it's fun, like I like it.
yeah. And plus, everybody has a nickname, so like you can still have a kind of more fun with that nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, I know like in like like WWE for as an example, they don't really use like gimmicky kind of names. They use like real names now for wrestlers and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And I miss it. Like I miss names like The Undertaker and Vader and Mankind. And now it's just real names, and it is like I understand that's I guess that's where the business is going and stuff like that. But I still like the gimmicky kind of character names and stuff like that.
Yeah, same here.
Now, I want to like kind of like change the subject because I knew like I didn't see this when prior to the recording. I did like I noticed it like maybe like a minute into the recording. You have a Mass Effect poster in the
Oh,
background.
yes.
I am
My
a
pride and joy.
I am a huge Mass Effect fan. The second one is my
Yes.
favorite all-time game, and I got the Legendary Edition back in May when it came out.
Same
So
here.
I'm assuming you're a hardcore fan.
Yes, I am. Yeah, the first game has a special place in my heart. But I'm a hardcore Mass Effect fan. I love sci-fi like in general, but that was like the game I kind of like grew up playing was Mass Effect.
Yeah, like I started with the second one. For whatever reason, when the first one came out, it just didn't pique my interest, but the second one did. I am embarrassed to say that I still haven't beat the first one. After playing the second one, I did go out the GameStop and I bought it, and I just couldn't get into it, but I do want to get into it with the Legendary Edition. I got
Mhm.
sidetracked by Resident Evil, but yeah, Mass Effect
Oh yeah.
is amazing, and the second one, like it hasn't aged, like it's so good, and
No, it flows so well. Like the pacing is just so good. Like I tell everybody, like that's the one you got to play if you're kind of, like I don't know, like that one's very cinematic in a good way, I say.
yeah, like it's perfect from beginning to end. It has that really good like feel good moment at the end, as long as do everything correctly. Obviously,
As long
like
as you don't kill everybody.
yeah, my first time playing through it, I didn't like upgrade the ship. So when we were going through the
Ah,
Omega 4 relay thingy, whatever, like a few people died and stuff like that. But like when I did like my research and I got everything right, and I was really excited that I got the platinum trophy for the second one, this time around. So that was really fun. I like I'm a trophy hunter, so that was, pretty cool to get that.
yeah.
So I'm assuming you like are a big gamer. So tell me about some other games that you enjoy playing.
Big Mass Effect fan. I got really into Overwatch for quite a while. Definitely I was like playing that constantly, like every night with friends for a good while. Man, there's just so many. Like I'm a big PlayStation fan, so like I like, Uncharted, um, Naughty Dogs games and stuff like that. Gosh, big RPG, big like XCOM. I like XCOM. That's like one of my go-tos. Just so many. I don't know.
Hey, you're not the first wrestler to bring up Overwatch. I've never played it. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but
Mhm.
I don't think I've even like looked into it or anything like that, but I think I need to because I keep hearing it a lot. Is it like an RBG or like a role playing kind of thing or
No, it's more like you kind of like group up with it's like team versus team in a way. It makes me think of Team Fortress. Have you ever heard of that game where it's
yeah,
kind
I've
of
heard of
like
that.
5v5 situation? It's really easy just to pick up and play for 10 to 15 minutes or so, and then you can stop or keep playing all night, but it's I usually would play that with like a lot of my online friends and stuff like that. So that was our go-to.
Okay, yeah, because I'll be honest with you, I was in the online multiplayer games and stuff like that, like back when I was in high school. Like I used to love Halo and Gears of War and all that kind of stuff. But as I gotten older, I've gotten kind of back into more like single player kind of games and stuff like that. Like I feel like it's so competitive when you play online games. Like even Call of Duty, I used to play that all the time, and now when I play it, I get my ass kicked, and it's
Yeah.
no fun getting your butt kicked. And it's like it seems like there's this hardcore fan base for every game where these people just like play nothing but the same game and they're so good at it, and it just kind of takes the fun for out of it for the people like me who I like to kind of dig into a lot of different games and stuff like that. So I usually just stick with single player.
I feel the same way. That was like my one game where I was like kind of got a little hardcore into it, but otherwise mostly, single player stories are like where it's at for me.
Yeah, like I think the last like online game that I was like really heavy into was like Modern Warfare 2, which was like in like
Oh yeah.
2011 or something like that. So it's been a minute.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Yes, it was definitely a good one. I don't know how many times I prestige from that. Like, wow. So now we can go back to wrestling. So I wanted to talk about like stipulation matches and stuff like that. Like I know like that definitely has its place in the business, and some of some of like the big match that people talk about are like the big stipulations and stuff like that. So tell me about like the most like hardcore like stipulation match that you've done, and then also like what is a stipulation match that you haven't done that you really want to tackle on in the future.
Wow, I got to think about that because I feel like I've done a lot of the stipulations, but like I've been in a cage match, I've been in like no DQ, 2 out of 3 falls, even a lumberjack match I've done. That was one of the ones I wanted to cross off the list because I've always been a fan of lumberjack matches for some reason. Um, but kind of like I know it's like Bloodsport does it where they take off the ring ropes. I want to do like one of those matches like where there's no ropes basically.
Seems
uh,
kind of like scary, like you're about to fall off the edge, and
no, it's not scary. Just you just can't use the ropes for anything. So no
mm.
rope breaks. No running off the ropes and stuff like that. It's just mat canvas. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that
So
seems interesting. I've never heard of a match like that. I need to look that up on YouTube. It reminds me of like I think it was like Tekken or something like that, where if you fall
mhm.
off the rat, you like lose the round and stuff like that.
Yeah. GCW does it with Bloodsport kind of right now where it's like knockout or tap out only. So I just thought it always had a really cool look. So I would love to do something like that. Um, Other than that, I'm kind of at a loss. I guess I haven't done like a tables or ladder match yet. Those are kind of ones I haven't done, but never say never.
Have you ever been slammed into a table yet?
Not yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Yeah, because I've always wondered like how like because I've seen some tables they seem like thicker than others and stuff like that. I just like if I were a wrestler, I would definitely want to go through a table just to say I've been through it. You know, like there's a lot of stuff that I would want to do if I was in that kind of shape. Right now, no, because I know I probably wouldn't get back up. But yeah, it just seems like fun, like honestly.
Yeah, stipulations, I think you say like it adds to the match and that it makes it feel unique or different from kind of everything else on the card. So I think they're very important, especially when you kind of have like the right, story behind it and everything.
Yeah, it seems like it like when there's like a bad blood feud, it just kind of like adds to the story. And it's usually like a lot of companies use it as like the end of like the rivalry, like that big stipulation, match to kind of end the storyline and stuff like that. So it just it like I said, it has its place, and especially with the right feud, it definitely like really works well and blends in well with it.
Mhm.
So I wanted to talk about the cage match too. So you said you've been in a cage match. Does it feel like intimidating, like being surrounded by this big cage and everything?
Yes, it definitely does because they basically lock you in there. So they have to open up the little door, close it, and you're like, I guess I'm stuck in here. Like, so it was definitely an experience. Like I was supposed to be in this big hyped up one, and I got a concussion unfortunately. So, but then luckily a couple months later, I had another opportunity to do one, and it was an experience because you're getting thrown around, thrown into that cage, and it feels exactly like you think it feels.
Yeah, it definitely looks painful. Like I've seen, like the wrestlers have like the fence or like the cage kind of marks on their backs and stuff like that. Like I know it definitely got to hurt. Like I've been thrown into like a fence, like a metal fence when I was younger and stuff like that. And I know it definitely hurts.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like, except for you're trapped inside of it.
Exactly. Yeah, I would not want to be trapped inside of a cage, because I'm very claustrophobic. So just like kind of like
Mm,
feeling trapped in, I don't like that at all.
yeah, you'd be one of the guys who's like, I gotta climb over the top now. I
Yeah,
gotta
I would be
escape.
that guy climbing and then oh shit, like why'd I climb up here? So now my next question. So obviously you started out as a fan. So now you're the wrestler. Now you have the fans. So how does it like feel just like knowing that you have fans, like people want to meet you and get, autographs and stuff like that? Like how does that like feel being in that spot?
It's really weird. I can't explain other than it's really weird and surreal. Like to see how, like you said, how it's kind of switched in a way now. Uh, I try to think back to like when like I was a fan and stuff like that, and I don't know. It's definitely very humbling, and that like people look towards you and they're excited to watch you wrestle and stuff like that, and they're a fan of you. So I always just try to take it like that of like, wow, I'm so lucky to be in this position and be doing what I'm doing and stuff like that, and so extremely grateful to have people who want to see me wrestle and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I can just like imagine like someone coming up to me, oh, you're from O Face Wrestling. Can I have your autograph? Like, wow, really? Like you want my autograph? Like, you're gonna pay me for it
it's
too? Like,
weird.
wow, yeah, exactly. Like,
It's weird, and I don't ever want it to become normal feeling, if that makes sense. Like I don't ever
yeah,
want to be like, oh, of course I have fans. Like no,
yeah.
that it's just it's so surreal in a good way. Like it's crazy.
Exactly. And that's like one of my favorite things about being a fan of independent pro wrestling. Like all of the wrestlers seem just very like appreciative of their fans, and they are very engaging on social media and stuff like that. And it's like this, like from being a fan, that's like the best thing because obviously when I was younger, social media wasn't really a thing. And then
Yeah.
now that I'm older and social media is booming and just like getting these engagements from your favorite wrestlers on the indies, it's just like such a great feeling. Like I'm sure you've probably seen it, on social media, people like screenshotting, oh, this wrestler liked my comment, like holy smokes and stuff like that. Like, like as a fan, like we get like really excited over just like the littlest things. And it's like the things that you all do, it makes such a big impact on us.
Yeah, that's awesome to see. I'm glad I'm able to make anybody's day. That's cool.
Exactly, like that. That's definitely like a really cool thing to be able to do. So now I got two more questions for you. Now, this next one is, so far in your career, what is your most proudest moment so far in the wrestling business?
Oh, that one's hard. Uh, Proudest moment. Oh, that's crazy. I guess that's a hard one to think about.
I mean, you
I
could
don't
always
know.
just like, if there's any moment, just this click comes to your head, like, oh, this was a really like exciting moment for me or something like that. Like,
Yeah, I guess I've had a couple of those where, like at my academy that I started at, DFW All Pro, I was the first ever women's champion, and that was a proud moment for me, I guess, in that like it was really cool to be that and to hold that title and be the first ever, and hopefully lay the foundation for many other great women's wrestlers to, you know, come through and stuff like that. It meant a lot to me.
yeah, exactly. Like that's like a big thing, because not only is this company like putting this title on you and said, hey, I want you to be our champion. It's like, I want you to be our first ever champion. Because I feel like when you introduce like a new title or, division into a company, you want the first champion to really like set the foundation for, the future and stuff like that. And the fact that they put that title on you definitely shows how highly they think of you.
Yeah, that was definitely a proud moment. And then I guess like having my parents like come see me wrestle is always like really proud for me, because uh, they would come drive me to like all like the indie shows and stuff when I was younger. And every Friday night, my mom would drive me to this one indie show and stuff like that. So them getting to see me wrestle is like always really proud of, like, I hope I'm, making them proud.
See, I wish when I was younger, I wish I would have known about indie like wrestling and stuff like that, because I just thought WWE was the only wrestling promotion on the planet. And I didn't even know
Yeah.
WCW existed. I don't know how I didn't know that. But yeah, like when I got older, I discovered MCW, and that's like 45 minutes from me. And I wish I would have known about them when I was, younger, because they have like a lot of like WWE legends go there as well. So I could have potentially have met, like, X-Pac has been there before, and he was my favorite growing up. So I would have loved to have been able to meet him, and that would have been a big deal, because, WWE only travels in your area so many times a year. And, so it's like indie promotions, they're always there for you. So I wish I would have known about that when I was younger.
Yeah. Like crazily, luckily, the reason I found out because they did like a news story, because SmackDown used to be, like on one of the local channels. So like literally they cut to like hey, we have wrestling and we're doing a news story on it locally. And I was like, what is this? Like, hey mom, can you take me to this basically? And I guess full circle kind of cool thing is that I also kind of train with that company now. That company is called XCW, and they run a school up in Denton called the Dojo, which is actually partially run by the wonderful lady behind you, Athena. So yeah, that's kind of like a cool full circle moment of this indie company that I used to see like 10 years ago. Now I get to
Mhm.
train with them. So that's another proud moment, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely
we'll
really
put it on
dope.
the list. Yeah.
Yeah, put it on the list. And I'm assuming, like, if you're familiar with Athena from back in the Indies, you know
Hmm.
what our name is inspired by then.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember seeing her do that move, and then Gigolo James Johnson is the one who also had kind of she used it from and stuff like that. So I recognize what it's from.
Yeah,
I'm one of the people that know.
a lot of people have no idea what it's from, or some people have an idea, because if you like Google O face, something else comes up. And I was like hoping, and actually Lady Frost, when I had her on my show, she's like, what does your name mean? Like, and I was like, I had to explain to her the story. But yeah, like, I'm a big Ember Moon Athena fan, and I was actually going to name the podcast like Eclipse Wrestling, but there's a
Hmm.
page on Facebook called Eclipse Wrestling, so I didn't want to copy or anything like that. So like, well, no, why not O face? And it kind of like fits in perfectly, because when I first started this show, it was me just talking about WWE, and now I'm doing indies wrestling, and my name of the podcast is named after a finisher from a wrestler when she was on the Indies. So I thought that was kind of how everything came together full circle.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love the story behind it. Because like you said, if you know, or you should know, basically,
Yeah,
know your
exactly.
know your indies history,
Yeah,
everybody.
exactly. So now my last and final question for you, and this is like a fun one. So if you were given an opportunity by WWE to have a WrestleMania match and you could choose any opponent, it doesn't have to be WWE, it could be AEW, Indies, Impact. Who would you choose to go toe to toe with?
There's a couple. Okay, so is it okay? I always have my three. So
You
like,
could
is that
do three,
okay?
that's fine.
Okay. So my three are always so Ember is one of them. Mickey James and Mercedes Martinez. Those are like my three dream basically matches.
And I really like that answer because I feel like when I ask this question, 'cause this is like question I usually end every episode with, and a lot of people say Sasha or Charlotte, and someone saying Ember Moon and Mickey James and Mercedes Martinez. Like those are three wrestlers that no one's ever named, and that's I'm really excited about that because like I think really highly of all of them.
Mhm.
And I think that's really cool that I'm getting like a new answer. Like there, obviously, there's nothing wrong with saying Sasha Banks or Charlotte. I understand, they're amazing. Sasha
They're
is actually
great.
my
They're
favorite,
great.
so yeah, they're great. Yeah,
They're great. But when you ask me like that for like personal reasons, like Mickey was my favorite on WWE growing up. Mercedes was my favorite on the Indies, and then Ember was like my favorite when I saw her locally and stuff like that. So those are the three.
yeah, I love all three of them. Mickey, I missed out on her first run in WWE during like the Ruthless
Mhm.
Aggression era. There was like that time period where I got out of it, but I saw like the clips of her doing all the psycho crazy lady stuff with Trish Stratus, and it seemed like she was really great. And I did see her at Impact when she was, the
Yeah,
Knockouts champion. That was the Mickey
hardcore
James that I
country.
was
Yeah,
into. Yes, I love that Mickey.
I love that
Oh,
song like so much. Like even ironically, it's so good.
and the fact that she sings the song too, that's her song. So
Yes,
yeah.
yes. There's a music video. Everybody go check it out.
I'm hoping now that she's like back on the indies that because she used to be the MCW women's champion. So I'm hoping she comes
Mhm.
back down here so I could finally meet her. That would be really fun. But yeah, and you also like mentioned Ember Moon, and I'm a big fan of her. I don't really like the rank too much, but she's up there in the top tier. But like with her, like she has like the backstory that kind of is similar to mine with like growing up and being bullied, and and then she's also like a geek and all like me. So it's like I have that like attachment, like and why there's more than just the wrestling is why like I'm a big fan of her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that wraps up our interview. So Killa Kate, I just have to thank you so much for joining us today on O Face Wrestling.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
Absolutely, yeah, it was a lot of fun. So do you want to share your social media with the listeners so they know where to find you?
Of course, you can find me at WrestleKate on Twitter and Instagram. And I have links on there too for more information, or if you want to get merch and stuff like that, they're on my profile. So just check it out.
All right, make sure you follow her on social media, y'all. I will put all the links in the bio below, and also make sure that you give us a sub on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And thank you all for tuning in, and you all have a great day.